If you're over 60, there's a seemingly harmless daily action, one that might even appear beneficial to your health, that's secretly increasing your risk of a stroke overnight. It's painless, comes without warning, and offers no second chances. You might go to bed feeling perfectly fine, only to wake up unable to speak, move your arm, or even recognize your loved ones. As a physician specializing in the intricacies of the brain, I've dedicated over 30 years to treating stroke patients. However, the cases that haunt me the most aren't those caused by smoking or poor diet. They stem from something far more unexpected: commonplace exercises. Those stretches, familiar routines, and senior-friendly activities you're told will help you age gracefully. A few of them, when performed at the wrong time or in the wrong way, can place excessive strain on your blood vessels, causing a dangerous spike in blood pressure and the formation of blood clots that attack your brain in the dead of night. Today, I want to walk you through 9 popular exercises that could be putting your brain at risk, even if you feel healthy, even if you think you're doing everything right. Because at this stage in life, what was once good for you might now be hazardous. Stick with me. This might be the most crucial health message you hear all year. Could even save your life. Before we dive in, if you haven't already, I highly recommend subscribing to the channel and hitting that notification bell so you never miss out on health advice tailored specifically for you. If you find this video helpful, type 1 in the comments section below. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can create better content for you. Bending over and touching your toes. The silent blood pressure drop. It sounds so innocuous, even healthy, doesn't it? Bending forward to stretch your back or legs, touching your toes before bed, or picking up a laundry basket from the floor. For decades, you've performed this movement without a second thought. But what if I told you that this simple, everyday act, when performed at the wrong moment, in a body that's not what it used to be, could be quietly pushing your brain to the brink of a stroke? As a brain doctor who spent years caring for older adults, I've witnessed this happen more times than I care to remember. A slow, unnoticed shift in blood pressure during a forward bend becomes a silent trigger for a dangerous chain reaction in the brain. For younger people, the body adapts easily to postural changes. But after 60, the sensors in your arteries, the ones that control blood flow to the brain called baroreceptors, lose their sensitivity. That means when you bend down too quickly, blood rushes away from the brain, and your body doesn't react fast enough to get it back up there. You might feel a little dizzy. You might feel nothing at all, but inside, something far more serious could be taking place. When blood flow decreases suddenly and regularly, such as when you repeatedly perform forward bends or toe touches, the brain becomes starved of oxygen. This dip doesn't always cause fainting, but it sets the stage for something worse: blood thickening, circulation slowing, and in some cases, the formation of blood clots. And when one of those tiny clots finds its way into a narrowed artery deep within your brain, the consequences can be devastating. Loss of speech, vision changes, balance problems, or, in the worst-case scenario, permanent paralysis. Let me tell you about a patient I'll never forget. Edward Millstone, a 74-year-old retired high school history teacher from Nebraska. Edward was active and sharp, taking pride in stretching every morning to keep his body limber. Each day after waking, he'd stand up, reach down, and touch his toes 5 or 6 times. Something he'd done since he was a boy. He said it made him feel younger. One morning, after performing his usual stretch, he felt slightly lightheaded, but he brushed it off. Hours later, while gardening, he collapsed in his backyard. He was conscious but unable to move his right arm or leg. When he arrived at the hospital, a CT scan showed he'd had a small ischemic stroke. A blood clot had blocked blood flow to the motor area of his brain. Tests revealed that his blood was dehydrated, and his blood pressure had dropped that morning. We traced it back to those toe touches. His aging vascular system couldn't keep up with the postural change. His blood became sluggish, and a clot formed silently, without any warning signs. Edward eventually regained the ability to walk with a cane, but his right hand never fully recovered. He told me later, with tears in his eyes, "I thought that stretching was saving me, but it almost killed me." This is the truth that so many older adults never hear. It's not about stopping movement. It's about understanding that your aging body can no longer do what it once could. A simple bending motion that felt comfortable at 40 could be dangerous at 70, especially if you're on blood pressure medication or if you wake up dehydrated, which most older adults do. If you absolutely must bend over, always rise slowly, take deep breaths, and consider sitting on a chair to put on your socks or shoes instead of bending from a standing position. If you feel dizzy while performing these actions, stop immediately. It's not a minor symptom. It's your brain whispering a warning. Because here's the truth. The most dangerous stroke isn't the one that arrives suddenly. It's the one that forms silently from a familiar movement performed too quickly, too often, and for too long for a brain that's no longer 30. And if a simple stretch can push your brain into crisis, what about a relaxing yoga pose that can send blood rushing directly into your skull? You won't believe what I'm about to share next. Let's talk about the deadly pressure that builds during yoga inversions and how it almost cost one grandmother her vision and speech overnight. If you're still watching and finding this information helpful, please comment the number 1 below to let me know you're still here. Now, let's move on to point number 2. Yoga inversions. Brain pressure imbalance. For many older adults, yoga has become a symbol of healthy aging, a way to stretch the body, breathe, and find calm in a noisy world. You've probably seen it at your local senior center. Rows of people sitting in chairs taking deep breaths, guided by a gentle instructor. And for the most part, gentle yoga can be a wonderful thing. But there's a type of pose that can silently pose serious risks to your brain. And most older adults are never warned about it. I'm talking about inversions like legs up the wall pose, downward dog, or even simple forward folds where the head is lower than the heart. These movements, while often touted as relaxing or restorative, can cause a rapid and dangerous shift in blood flow to the brain, especially in those over 60. And when that surge of pressure hits aging blood vessels, vessels that may already be stiff, inflamed, or weakened from years of high blood pressure or high cholesterol, it can cause those vessels to swell, rupture, or spasm. You see, as we age, our brain's autoregulation system, the brain's built-in pressure valve, doesn't work as efficiently as it used to. In a younger person, the body compensates for sudden changes in posture. But in an older adult, even just tilting the head down for a few minutes can cause blood to rush in, pressure to spike, and oxygen flow to become erratic. Combine that with a history of hypertension, a hidden aneurysm, or certain blood pressure medications, and the result can be catastrophic. It sets the stage for clots to form in the most sensitive areas of the brain. Let me share a story about a patient that haunts me to this day. Her name was Evelyn Thomas, a 74-year-old retired art teacher from Oregon. She was active, kind, and full of life. Every Tuesday and Thursday, she attended a gentle yoga class for seniors in her community. She told me she loved the soothing music, the community, and the way it made her feel young again. But one morning, during a pose where the participants had their legs up the wall with their heads lowered, Evelyn suddenly felt a sharp pain behind her eyes. She brushed it off, finished the class, and went home to rest. That night, Evelyn's daughter found her collapsed beside her bed, confused and unable to speak. At the hospital, scans revealed she'd suffered a small hemorrhagic stroke in the back of her brain, a rare but devastating form of bleeding, often triggered by a surge in cranial pressure. Her blood pressure medication combined with the inverted pose had created the perfect storm. The vessel walls strained, blood pressure fluctuated, and a clot formed and ruptured in a place where her body couldn't recover quickly. Evelyn survived, but not without loss. Her vision was permanently blurred on the left side, and she struggled to find words in conversations. A woman once known for her creativity and wit now had to write herself reminders just to get through the day. And the tragedy is, it was entirely preventable. No one had ever warned her that these poses, though labeled safe for seniors, might not be safe for someone with her medical history. The instructor wasn't trained in geriatric care. And Evelyn, like so many others, believed that if it was gentle yoga, it must be harmless. But age changes the rules. The arteries feeding your brain are no longer elastic pipes. They're more like fragile garden hoses that can burst or clog with even the slightest pressure change. And when blood pools in the wrong area or when circulation slows in a confined space, your body does what it's designed to do. It forms clots. It tries to protect you. But in the wrong blood vessel, that protection becomes the very thing that can steal your independence or even your life. So what can you do? If you practice yoga, ask your instructor if they have specific training for older adults, especially those with cardiovascular or neurological conditions. Avoid any poses that put your head significantly lower than your heart. Skip the inversions altogether. There are safer seated poses that offer similar benefits without the risk. And if you feel dizzy, throbbing behind the eyes, or deeply fatigued after yoga, listen to your body. It's not being dramatic. It's giving you a warning. Because the reality is this. Sometimes what feels good isn't good for you, especially now. And if you think inversions are the only hidden risk in your workout routine, wait until I tell you about something far more common. Something as familiar as lifting a bag of groceries or carrying a laundry basket can spike your blood pressure in seconds and tear the lining of a blood vessel without you even feeling it. The next exercise may seem harmless, but it can silently trigger a chain reaction that ends in a stroke. Let's talk about heavy lifting and why it's not just about how much you carry, but how you carry it. Lifting heavy objects, even groceries, the blood pressure spike. There's something noble about maintaining your strength in your golden years. Carrying your own groceries, picking up your grandkids, moving a box of books without asking for help. It makes you feel capable, independent, alive. But what most older adults don't realize is that even small lifting actions, especially if you hold your breath or strain, can cause your blood pressure to surge in seconds, creating a perfect storm inside your body for a stroke. You don't have to be pumping iron at the gym to be at risk. I've seen strokes occur from simply moving a garden hose reel, lifting a heavy purse, or helping a neighbor with a laundry basket. The problem isn't the weight of the object itself. It's the sudden internal pressure you create when you strain. It's called the Valsalva maneuver when you unconsciously hold your breath while lifting. And it triggers a rapid spike in blood pressure, increasing the pressure inside your chest and brain, and potentially disrupting blood flow in critical arteries. For an aging body, where the arteries may already be narrowed, stiffened with plaque, or weakened from years of high blood pressure or diabetes, this surge can be deadly. The vessel walls can crack, or a hidden clot can break loose, travel upstream, and block oxygen to your brain. It doesn't take much, just seconds, and you might not even feel anything until the damage is done. Let me tell you about George Pickett, an 82-year-old retired firefighter from Ohio. He was strong, proud, and fiercely independent. He believed in keeping his body active and always insisted on helping his wife unload groceries from the car. One afternoon, he lifted a heavy box of canned goods. Nothing out of the ordinary, but this time something shifted. He paused mid-lift, grabbed his head, and collapsed. When he arrived at the emergency room, he couldn't move the entire right side of his body or speak clearly. Scans revealed he'd suffered an ischemic stroke from a clot lodged in the middle cerebral artery, one of the brain's most critical blood pathways. His blood pressure had spiked while lifting, and that pressure had dislodged plaque that had been silently building for years. The moment of strength he'd prided himself on had become the moment that changed his life forever. George now relies on a walker, and though his mind remains sharp, his speech is labored and slow. This is the silent danger no one warns you about. You're told to stay fit, keep moving, but no one tells you what happens when you move too much, too fast, or too imbalanced for the body you're in. You don't have the same margin for error as you used to. Every breath, every lift, every ounce of pressure on your arteries matters more than ever. So if you're lifting something and holding your breath, stop. That's your warning sign. If you feel dizzy, lightheaded, or experience tightness in your chest or neck afterward, it's not just fatigue. It could be a stroke forming right before your eyes. Lift lighter. Ask for help. Use carts, tools, leverage. You don't lose independence by being cautious. You protect it. And remember, strokes don't always feel painful. Sometimes they don't feel like anything at all until the damage has stolen your words, your balance, or your future. But if lifting a simple box can threaten your brain, what happens when your own body turns against you the moment you stand up? Next, we'll talk about a common exercise performed in nursing homes across the country that can silently starve your brain of oxygen in seconds. And the worst part is, you probably did it today without even realizing it. If you're still watching and finding this information valuable, Please comment the number 1 below to let me know you're still here. Now, let's move on to point number 4. Sudden standing exercises. Standing up too quickly from a seated position. It's one of the simplest movements we make every day. Standing up from a chair. We do it dozens of times after reading the newspaper, finishing a meal, or getting up to answer the phone. For older adults, it's even encouraged in many balance and mobility programs. They say practice standing up and sitting down without using your hands. But what no one tells you is this. Standing up too quickly, especially without support, can silently trigger the very stroke you're trying to avoid. Why? Because the moment you stand up, gravity pulls blood away from your head and down towards your feet. For a younger person, the body reacts quickly, tightening the blood vessels and increasing the heart rate to push blood back up to the brain. But after 60, this automatic response becomes slower, weaker, and sometimes fails altogether. That's especially true if you have high blood pressure, diabetes, take medications like beta blockers or diuretics, or are even mildly dehydrated, which many older adults are without realizing it. When you stand up suddenly, your brain might not get enough blood fast enough. Here's a translation and significant rewrite in the style of rewrite and deeply expand : It's a treacherous moment, that brief deprivation of oxygen. And if your blood vessels are already narrowed or inflamed, it sets the stage for clot formation, clots that can become fatally lodged in the brain's delicate arteries. You don't have to black out for this to occur. Perhaps you just feel a fleeting dizziness, a moment of unease lasting mere seconds. But within that tiny window, a stroke can begin its insidious work, silently, invisibly. I recall one of my patients vividly, Carol Jensen, a sharp-witted, 79-year-old retired school principal from Arizona. A woman of unwavering determination when it came to her health, Carol diligently followed her physical therapist's instructions, repeatedly practicing sit-to-stand exercises, rising from her kitchen chair without the aid of her hands. 5 repetitions, each faster than the last. It's excellent for your balance, she'd been told, the words ringing in her ears like a doctor's prescription. But one ordinary morning, immediately following a particularly brisk set while her husband busied himself making coffee, she rose too quickly. Her hand shot out, instinctively grasping the countertop for support, but the action came a split second too late. "I feel strange," she managed to say to him, her voice slightly slurred. Within moments, the entire right side of her body felt leaden, unresponsive. Speech became a Herculean effort, each word a struggle to form. At the hospital, scans confirmed the devastating truth. A left-sided ischemic stroke, the culprit a blood clot lodged firmly in her middle cerebral artery. Further blood tests revealed telltale signs of underlying blood vessel inflammation, coupled with a worrying hint of dehydration from earlier that morning. Unbeknownst to her, something as seemingly innocuous, as commonly encouraged, as simply standing up too fast had triggered the most frightening episode of her life. Today, Carol can walk, albeit with the assistance of a cane. Her speech and memory, however, remain significantly impaired, all stemming from that single, rapid movement. This story, sadly, isn't an anomaly. In emergency rooms across the country, we witness strokes unfolding in precisely this manner with alarming frequency. Not from traumatic injury, not from years of neglect or unhealthy habits, but from a well-intentioned exercise at odds with the body's current reality. Aging, you see, subtly rewrites the rules. It alters the responsiveness of your blood vessels, the speed with which your brain recalibrates pressure, the very resilience of your oxygen supply. The body you possessed at 40 is no longer the body you inhabit now. That's not failure. It's the natural order. But pretending it's the same, that's where the real danger lies. Therefore, here's what I need you to remember. Always rise deliberately. Never bolt upright without support. Pause momentarily as you stand. Use the chair's arms if you need to. Take a deep, calming breath. Allow your brain those precious seconds to catch up before you move. And if you experience dizziness after standing, don't dismiss it as just getting old. It's your brain sounding the alarm, because in this chapter of life, speed can be the enemy. Rushing from one position to the next can cost you dearly: clarity, independence, even the ability to recall your own name. But what if I told you that even walking, that most universally recommended, seemingly foolproof exercise for seniors, could be silently undermining your brain health, particularly in warm weather? Next, we'll delve into precisely how a daily walk under the wrong conditions can essentially dehydrate your brain, thicken your blood, and leave you frighteningly vulnerable to a stroke before the sun even reaches its zenith. Walking in hot or humid weather. Dehydration plus thickened blood ***. There's an undeniable allure to a simple walk. For countless older adults, it's a cherished daily ritual. A post-breakfast stroll to savor the birdsong. An afternoon amble to breathe in fresh air and stretch weary limbs. Doctors endorse it. Wellness programs actively promote it. And, truthfully, walking can be one of the most beneficial exercises for both brain and cardiovascular health. But, as with so much else in later life, context dramatically alters the equation. And one of the most hazardous oversights I consistently observe in my older patients unfolds like this: walking in hot, humid conditions without adequate hydration or awareness. On the surface, it appears deceptively innocuous. You step outside on a balmy summer morning. The sun feels gentle. A soft breeze whispers through the trees. But what your body perceives and what your brain is experiencing aren't always in sync, particularly after the age of 60. As we age, our thirst response diminishes. We often don't register true thirst until we're already significantly dehydrated. Compound this with blood pressure medications, diuretics, or pre-existing conditions like heart failure or diabetes, and your body's fluid regulation system becomes dramatically compromised. So here's what happens, often imperceptibly. You walk, you perspire, even minimally, and you fail to adequately replenish those lost fluids. Your blood volume shrinks, circulation slows, and what was once thin, free-flowing blood transforms into a thicker, more concentrated sludge. In medical terms, this is known as hemoconcentration. And for an aging body with its often narrowed or hardened arteries, this is where the trouble truly begins. Your blood becomes stickier, your blood vessels strained, and clots form in the very places you least want them, within the arteries that feed your brain. Let me share the story of Harold Dunn, an 84-year-old retired postal worker from Kentucky, whom I treated not long ago. Harold was exceptionally disciplined about his health. Every day, without fail after lunch, he embarked on a lengthy walk around his neighborhood. It was his way of maintaining his youthful vigor. But during a particularly sweltering July, when humidity soared and temperatures hovered near 90 degrees Fahrenheit, Harold stubbornly refused to modify his routine. "I'm used to it," he assured his concerned wife. But one morning, following an exceptionally hot walk the previous day, Harold awoke disoriented and confused. He attempted to rise from bed, but immediately collapsed, landing heavily on the floor. At the hospital, his speech was garbled, and his right arm hung limply at his side. Scans confirmed the grim diagnosis: a left-sided ischemic stroke, almost certainly caused by a blood clot that had formed overnight in the context of dehydration and sluggish circulation. Blood tests revealed dangerously elevated hemoglobin levels. His blood had become excessively concentrated. He hadn't been drinking nearly enough water. He hadn't been replenishing his electrolytes. He believed he was making himself healthier through his walks. But, in reality, walking in the oppressive heat, combined with subtle dehydration and the diuretic he took for his blood pressure, had created the perfect storm for disaster. Harold survived, but not unscathed. He can no longer walk unaided. He still wonders aloud why no one ever warned him that walking could be dangerous if not done at the right time, in the right way. And I tell him, as I tell you now, the problem isn't that walking is inherently harmful. The problem is the conditions. It's the insidious, underlying changes within your aging body that transform something beneficial into something potentially deadly. So please, if you're going to walk, especially during the warmer months, hydrate proactively, before and after your walk. Add a pinch of salt to your water, or sip some coconut water to help maintain electrolyte balance. Avoid walking during the hottest or most humid hours of the day. And if you experience fatigue, dry mouth, or dizziness afterward, don't dismiss it as just getting old. It's your blood sending out a desperate SOS. Because the truth is, You could drift off to sleep after a walk feeling proud and virtuous, only to awaken unable to speak, move, or recognize the faces of your loved ones. That's how silently, insidiously, strokes can steal from us when we fail to heed the quiet signals our bodies are sending. And if summer heat can trigger this, imagine what could happen from a movement we perform without thinking. Something as innocuous as rotating your neck or stretching your spine, but under the wrong circumstances, it can tear the arteries feeding your brain. Next, we'll explore a seemingly benign action that millions of older adults perform daily, and why it might just be a vascular time bomb waiting to explode. Neck rolls or jerky neck rotations. The risk of arterial tears ***. It's one of the most ubiquitous stretches recommended for older adults. Loosen up your neck, they say, so you gently tilt your head from side to side. Maybe even trace a gentle circle with your chin. It seems harmless, even therapeutic. You likely perform it reflexively after waking with a stiff neck or after sitting for too long. But what no one ever warns you about, what I've witnessed causing heartbreak in far too many patients, is that this seemingly innocent movement can inflict a tear within one of the most fragile and critical arteries in your body, the vertebral artery. And for someone over 60, that tear might be all it takes to trigger a life-altering stroke. The vertebral arteries run deep within your neck, winding their way through tiny openings in your spinal vertebrae, nourishing the posterior portion of your brain, the area responsible for balance, coordination, and even consciousness itself. These arteries aren't designed for excessive stretching or twisting. Yet, every time you whip your neck into a full rotation, especially with excessive force or speed, you're essentially playing a game of vascular Russian roulette. Over time, or sometimes with just one wrong move, that strain can cause a small tear in the artery's inner lining. Your body immediately attempts to repair the damage, forming a blood clot at the injury site. And that's where the real danger begins. Because if that clot breaks loose, even partially, it becomes a rogue missile free to travel upwards directly into the brainstem. The result? A posterior circulation stroke, one of the most difficult to detect and often the most devastating in its consequences. I remember one case with particular clarity. Dennis Lyle, a 72-year-old retired school band director from Michigan. A kind, gentle man, active in his church choir, always striving to keep his body limber and flexible. He had read in a senior magazine that neck rolls were excellent for posture. So every morning after brushing his teeth, he methodically rotated his neck clockwise, then counterclockwise. One morning, as he was completing the second half of his rotation, he felt a sharp, searing pain behind his ear. This was followed by a wave of dizziness. Seconds later, he collapsed in the hallway. By the time the paramedics arrived, Dennis was unable to speak clearly. He had lost coordination and vomited twice en route to the hospital. Scans confirmed the catastrophic diagnosis: a dissection of the left vertebral artery, the medical term for the tear, and an acute stroke near the cerebellum. The clot had traveled precisely where I feared it would. Today, Dennis relies on a wheelchair. He still plays the piano slowly, carefully, but he tells me he had no idea that such a gentle movement could change his life so irrevocably. And that's the insidious danger. These aren't dramatic injuries. There are no blaring warning bells. You might feel a simple pop, a fleeting moment of nausea, or an odd sense of lightheadedness. And by then, the damage might already be done. As we age, the tissues within our blood vessels become less resilient. Medications like blood thinners or statins can further weaken the vessel walls. A neck movement you executed effortlessly at 40 can become life-threatening at 70. So here's what I need every older adult to understand, to internalize. Stop doing neck rolls altogether. Avoid any rapid, jerky rotational movements. Never stretch your neck to its absolute limit. Instead, gently turn your head from side to side within a comfortable, natural range. Slowly and always with support. If you feel unsteady, if you experience dizziness, lightheadedness, or a sudden snap or crack in your neck during movement, stop immediately and get checked out. Your neck isn't just a bridge for posture. It's a lifeline for blood flow to your brain. Protect it as if your life depends on it, because it truly does. And if something as gentle as that can silently tear an artery, What do you think could happen when you push your heart to its limits with short bursts of high-intensity activity? Next, we'll examine a popular fitness trend sweeping senior centers and fitness apps alike, and why it may be doing your brain more harm than people realize. If you're still following along and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's get on with number 7. 7. High-intensity interval training. HIIT. Vascular overload. There is a new trend that is sweeping senior fitness centers, YouTube videos, and even Medicare-sponsored healthcare programs. High-intensity interval training, or HIIT. It is marketed as a time-saving miracle. Short bursts of exercise followed by quick rest periods are said to improve cardiovascular health, burn fat, and keep your metabolism youthful. But here is what the commercials won't tell you. For older adults, especially those over the age of 60, HIIT can silently push your cardiovascular system beyond its limits, putting you at real risk for stroke, arrhythmia, and permanent brain damage. In theory, the concept sounds promising. 30 seconds of rapid activity like walking in place, fast squats, or modified jumping jacks, followed by a short rest period, then repeat. But for aging arteries, stiffened blood vessels, and a heart that might already be battling underlying hypertension, diabetes, or years of medication, this kind of workout is a dangerous gamble. You see, during each high-intensity burst, your heart rate skyrockets, your blood pressure surges, and your vascular system is forced to rapidly expand and contract. In younger bodies, this can be tolerated. But in older adults, that sudden pressure can stress the delicate endothelial lining inside your blood vessels, the layer responsible for smooth circulation. When this layer gets overstretched or inflamed, tiny fissures can form, plaque can rupture, and what happens next is my greatest fear for my patients. Clots form, clots that can travel, lodge in the brain, and leave you unable to speak, move, or return to the life you once knew. I will never forget Donald Whitaker, a 74-year-old retired steelworker from Pittsburgh. Donald had a strong work ethic, prided himself on doing things the right way, and was determined to stay active in retirement. His daughter bought him an exercise DVD designed for seniors with energetic HIIT moves. He started each morning with short rounds of step touches, rapid arm raises, and modified burpees. It felt strenuous, but manageable until one morning it wasn't. After completing a 20-minute session, Donald went to make coffee. Within minutes, he became dizzy, dropped his mug, and collapsed against the counter. His wife heard the commotion and found him unable to speak. At the hospital, a CT scan revealed an ischemic stroke affecting the left side of his brain. His carotid artery, one of the main blood vessels carrying blood to the brain, had released a clot, likely dislodged during one of the pressure surges from one of his strength intervals. His blood vessels, weakened by age and untreated hypertension, simply couldn't adapt fast enough to the stress. Donald survived, but not without consequence. He now lives in an assisted living facility, relies on speech therapy, and struggles with memory gaps that weren't there before. He once told me, "Doc, I thought I was doing the right thing. I was just trying to keep myself young." And that's the tragedy. He was doing what he thought was good for him, but his body wasn't built for that level of pressure anymore. This is what I need you to understand. Aging doesn't mean you are weak, but it does mean you are different. Your blood vessels are no longer as elastic as they once were. Your brain needs steady, consistent oxygen, not surges and droughts. Chai tea may promise youthfulness, but if it overloads your heart and triggers a clot, it can steal your independence in just seconds. If you've tried HIIT or fast routines and noticed dizziness, fatigue, or shortness of breath afterward, don't ignore it. That's not progress. That's a warning. Choose gentler forms of movement. Choose steady-paced walking, resistance bands, or Tai Chi exercises that protect your heart and nourish your brain without shock. Because in this chapter of life, stability is strength, control is health, and sudden intensity is not your friend. It's your risk. And if you think working out is the only place your body faces this kind of vascular pressure, what if I told you that even stretching when done at the wrong time can silently set the stage for a stroke? Coming up, we'll explore how a common pre-exercise habit, stretching before warming up, can silently weaken your arteries and cause. Here's the translation and rewrite of the provided text, adhering to the requested style. Dangerous vascular responses you never see coming. 8. Pre-workout stretching and vascular shock. We've been taught our whole lives that stretching is good for us, that it keeps us limber, improves circulation, and prevents injury. So it's no wonder so many older adults begin their morning routines, a round of golf, or a walk around the neighborhood with a few long stretches. Arms overhead, calves pressed against the wall, reaching for the toes. It looks gentle, even graceful. But for the aging body, pre-workout stretching can do more harm than good. And in some cases, it can quietly trigger the first steps toward a stroke. Let me explain what happens beneath the surface. When your muscles are cold, meaning you haven't been moving around or getting the blood flowing, your blood vessels are naturally more constricted. Your heart beats slower, and circulation is focused on the core, not the extremities. Suddenly tugging on these muscles through static stretching, especially deep hamstring or shoulder stretches, forces your arteries and connective tissues to expand before they're ready. And in aging bodies where blood vessels become stiff, narrow, or even calcified, that sudden demand can shock the vascular system. The result? A reflex spasm of the arteries. Blood flow slows. Pressure increases in some areas while decreasing in others. In younger people, the body adapts quickly. But in older adults, especially those with pre-existing hypertension, diabetes, or cardiovascular problems, that circulatory mismatch can be dangerous. When blood flow becomes inconsistent or turbulent, it promotes the formation of blood clots, especially near weakened vascular linings. And when those clots travel, the brain is often the first place they end up. I once treated a woman named Eileen Granger, a 78-year-old retired piano teacher from Colorado. One morning, before her usual neighborhood stroll, she followed an online stretching video, a gentle routine for seniors, or so it claimed. She held a long forward fold, then performed quad stretches and shoulder rotations. She hadn't walked or even had a glass of water. "I thought I was doing something good for myself," she later told me. But halfway through her walk, she felt dizzy. Her balance was off. By the time a concerned neighbor noticed something was wrong, Eileen struggled to find her words. She was rushed to the ER, where imaging revealed a small ischemic stroke in her left parietal lobe. Her tests showed early signs of dehydration and endothelial stress. And based on the timing and sequence of events, we concluded that the static stretching before her walk had created a vascular mismatch, allowing a small clot to form and lodge in a critical artery. Eileen's recovery was slow and challenging. Her memory returned, but she now needed a walker and had to avoid walking alone. Eileen's stroke didn't come from bad habits. It came from a well-intentioned habit performed in the wrong order, stretching a cold body, forcing blood into vessels before they were prepared. So what should you take away from this? If you're over 60, never start your day or your workout with static stretching. Instead, warm up first. Walk around your house for 5 to 10 minutes. Gently swing your arms. Take deep breaths. Let your circulation wake up. Let your joints loosen naturally. Stretching is still good, but it should come after your body is ready, not before. Because it's not just your muscles you're stretching. You're stretching arteries, veins, and the tissues that nourish your brain. And if they crack, clot, or collapse under pressure, you might not even know it until you lose your speech, your balance, or your independence. And if pre-workout stretching can quietly harm your brain, imagine what happens when your sense of balance fails completely and you fall without warning. In the next section, I'll show you how one of the most overlooked forms of exercise, unsupported balance training, can put you one wrong step away from the kind of injury your brain may never fully recover from. 9. Unsupported balance exercises, the fall stroke loop. Of all the exercises older adults are encouraged to do, balance training often seems the safest. We're told it helps prevent falls, strengthens core muscles, and preserves independence. And that's true when done properly. But what most older adults don't realize is that performing balance exercises without proper support or supervision can quietly set off a chain reaction that ends in the hospital, or worse, in a stroke unit. Here's why. As we age, the systems that keep us upright, our inner ear, our eyes, our muscles, and our joints begin to decline. A small misstep that would have been nothing at 40 can become catastrophic at 75. And while standing on one foot or using a wobble board may seem like a good challenge, doing it alone without holding onto something sturdy creates a dangerous window where a slip or loss of balance can lead to a hard fall. But the danger doesn't end with the fall. That's just the beginning. When an older adult falls, especially if they hit their head, hip, or spine, the body experiences trauma. In response, it releases stress hormones and inflammatory markers. Blood pressure spikes, blood vessels constrict, and the risk of forming internal blood clots skyrockets. Even if no bones are broken, the body can begin to form clots in response to the sudden injury. And if one of those clots dislodges, it can find its way to the brain. That's what we call the fall stroke loop. A fall leads to clotting, and clotting leads to a stroke. Sometimes within hours, sometimes overnight. I'll never forget a patient, Walter Harris, an 81-year-old retired Navy veteran from San Diego. He lived alone, prided himself on staying active, and had watched an online balance training video that encouraged standing on one foot for 30 seconds. He tried it one morning without any support, no wall, no chair nearby. His foot slipped on the rug. He fell sideways, hitting his shoulder and lightly bumping his head on a side table. "I wasn't even that hurt," he told me later. "Just embarrassed." But that night, everything changed. Walter woke up confused. His right arm was numb. He couldn't form a complete sentence. At the ER, we found a blood clot in his left middle cerebral artery, the kind that forms after inflammation or vascular trauma. He hadn't hit his head hard enough to cause a brain bleed, but his fall had created enough physical stress for a clot to form and travel to his brain. The stroke affected his speech, memory, and the use of his dominant hand. Walter was lucky. He got treatment quickly, but now he had a speech therapist and needed help getting dressed each morning. He told me he'd give anything to go back and do that balance exercise just while holding onto a chair. So here's the truth. Balance training is essential for older adults, but it must be done safely. Always stay near a stable surface with supervision if needed, and never on an unstable floor or in socks. If you're unsure, start with seated core exercises or heel-to-toe walks beside a wall. The goal is strength and stability, not risk and regret. Because it's not just the fall you need to fear. It's what the fall triggers inside your body that you may never see coming. A stroke might not happen the day you hit the floor. It might come quietly in the night as you sleep, after a clot has formed and your brain is no longer able to defend itself. And now, after walking through 9 well-intentioned exercises that can endanger your brain, you may be asking yourself, what can I do instead? What's safe? What truly protects my brain, my balance, and my independence without the risks? In this final reflection, let's delve into the realities of exercise and aging, and how mindful movement can be your greatest ally in preserving a sharp mind and a life lived on your own terms. Final reflection. The truth about movement, aging, and protecting your brain. If you've made it this far, I want to start by saying something from the heart. You care. You care enough about your health, your future, and those who love you to sit with uncomfortable truths. And that takes strength. The kind of strength that doesn't come from lifting weights or mastering yoga poses. It comes from the wisdom accumulated over decades and from the courage to change direction when the path you trusted suddenly shifts beneath your feet. We've walked through 9 everyday exercises, things you may have been doing with the best intentions, and we've seen how each one can become dangerous under the wrong conditions. From neck rolls and toe touches to high-intensity workouts and balance drills, each of these movements can be health-promoting, but only when carefully aligned with the realities of your aging body. And the truth is this: aging changes everything. Your blood vessels are no longer as elastic as they once were. Your heart doesn't respond as quickly to changes in position. Your brain becomes more sensitive to drops in oxygen, spikes in sugar, dehydration, and inflammation. What was once harmless at 40 can quietly set the stage for a blood clot, a ruptured vessel, or a brain bleed at 70 or 80. And once a stroke occurs, nothing is ever quite the same. As a neurologist, I've seen this far too often. Active, careful, well-intentioned patients who followed routines they thought were safe walked into my office one week and couldn't speak the next. I've looked into the eyes of spouses who never expected to become full-time caregivers. I've watched strong men and women relearn how to feed themselves, button a shirt, or remember their grandchildren's names. And I've heard the same phrase repeated over and over. I didn't know. I thought I was doing the right thing. That's why I'm here, not to scare you, but to help you see what's hidden beneath the surface. Because knowledge, not fear, is what keeps us safe, alert, and independent. So now the question becomes, if these exercises carry risks, what can I do safely? How do I move in a way that protects my brain instead of endangering it? Let's start with the first and most important principle. Movement is not the enemy. Uninformed movement is. You don't have to stop exercising. You need to exercise differently with intention, awareness, and respect for the reality of your body today. You're not fragile, but you are different, and your movement should reflect that. What does safe movement look like after 60? 1. Warm up first. Always. Never start a workout or even a morning stretch without a warm-up. Walk in place for 5 to 10 minutes. Gently rotate your shoulders. Take deep breaths. This wakes up your circulation and prepares your body to move safely. 2. Use support when needed, and don't apologize for it. Balance exercises should always be performed near a wall, chair, or railing. Holding on isn't weakness. It's wisdom. The goal isn't to prove you can do it alone. The goal is to stay upright and safe. 3. Prioritize rhythmic, steady movement over intensity. Walking, tai chi, water aerobics, or light resistance band workouts offer wonderful benefits without the dangerous surges in heart rate or blood pressure. Your brain thrives on consistency, not shock. For hydrate not just after, but before. Dehydration thickens your blood and stresses your brain's blood vessels. Drink water in the morning and before any physical activity, even stretching. 5. Coordinate movement with breath. Holding your breath while lifting or straining increases internal pressure and can destabilize blood vessels. Each movement should include a conscious breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. 6. Stretch after activity, not before. Static stretching is safest when your body is warm. Save the long holds for after your walk or workout. Focus on gentle range of motion movements beforehand. 7. Listen to subtle warnings. Dizziness, brain fog, nausea, chest tightness, or sudden fatigue aren't just aging. They're whispers from your brain telling you something inside isn't right. Don't ignore them. Sit down, breathe, hydrate, and seek help if they persist. 8. Move in the morning, not late at night. Circulation slows down at night. Exertion late in the day can lead to drops in blood pressure or delayed clotting. Aim for morning or midday when your body is most alert and responsive. 9. Personalize your routine with your doctor. Medications, medical histories, and vascular conditions vary. What's right for one older adult can be dangerous for another. Always review your exercise plan with your physician, especially if you're on blood thinners, diuretics, or have a history of stroke or TIAs. You still hold the pen. This chapter of life isn't about limitation. It's about precision, about knowing your body better than ever and making choices that reflect your decades of experience. You've survived loss, challenge, and change. You've built families, careers, and communities. You've earned the right to live these final chapters on your own terms. But that means protecting your brain as the treasure it is. Because one small movement, performed at the wrong time, or without enough support, can unravel everything you've worked so hard to preserve. But the right movements are chosen wisely, performed safely, can give you more years of clarity, mobility, and freedom. So as you step into your next walk, your next stretch, your next effort to stay healthy, carry this truth with you. It's not just how you move, it's how you protect the brain that allows you to move. Make every step count, not just toward strength, but toward safety. Not just toward fitness, but toward freedom. Because your brain is still listening, and it's trusting you to move with care. And now I'd love to hear from you. What part of this journey resonated with you most? What one change are you willing to make, starting today, to protect your health and your future? Let's walk this wiser path together. Your brain deserves it. You deserve it. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'm eager to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and intend to apply in your life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with the number 1. If not, please comment with the number 0. Your feedback means the world to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.